Then let's go back a little bit. If I'm a founder of a company, when should I start thinking about raising funds? Is it when I just have an idea, or after I've already made some sales and some customer traction? When is the best time?
That's a very good question as well, and it's something that I think founders should spend more time on considering. Let's take the case of a founder who has a good idea or thinks it's a good idea. He will probably have to develop that idea. He'll have to bring other people on board to bring particular expertise in and so on.
Okay.
And there are various ways in which he could do that. He could partner with them, or he could hire them. And it then depends also on the expectations and the ability of the person to undertake that work. So it could be paid work, which would be actually more unusual. So usually actually people who are founding businesses and the early participants in the business would normally provide what's called sweat equity.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Sweat equity is essentially working to get a share in the company.
Okay.
And so a founder, again, has the opportunity either to try and find these people who will co-found the business with him. And usually that will then save funds, which are normally extremely limited at the start.
Okay. So they'll give up like 5% of the company, 10%, 1%? What's kind of normal?
It could be any of those, actually. It really depends on how much the founder needs those additional areas of expertise. Again, I think if the founder can bootstrap, there's the term bootstrap, so try and get funds as the business is developing.
Okay.
That's usually a very good way of proceeding. Usually a founder will have to provide some funds him or herself, and those funds could either be personal funds, they usually are, and then actually the second step of funding would usually be what they call friends and family rounds.
Okay.
So you approach your family, you approach close friends and other acquaintances, talk to them about the idea, see if they're interested, if they're willing to invest with you. I think the main thing that founders need to bear in mind is that the earlier they seek financing, the more they're probably going to have to give away for their business. And that's why there's a recommendation that founders try and use the term I use, bootstrap, as far as is possible. So for example, if you have a good idea and you want to get it financed, you could, for example, ask or seek, for just as an example, say $5 million or $10 million.
Okay.
If you do so, however, the likelihood is, and this depends also very much on what type of business it is and how much it can be expected to generate in revenues and profits going forward. But generally, if you're looking for sizes of $5–10 million, you would probably have to give away a significant portion of your company. So the idea is to bootstrap, which would mean maybe you get your first $100,000.
Okay.
And give away a small percentage, get the product further developed. You then go and look for further equity so that your product is even more developed. And at each step, you're giving away some equity. Hopefully, you also try and develop some revenues as soon as possible. And revenues would obviously help to pay certain costs and expenses that a founder will be incurring along the way. So the timing of when to go to investors, which investors to go to, how to approach the investors to ensure that you've got the right resources on board, all of those are vital considerations for founders and for startups.
So